Okay, my name is Irene, and I'll be talking about prosodic focus with post-focus compression in Lan-Yin Mandarin. And this is a piece of research I did in collaboration with Professor Xu at UCL, alongside my main research. Okay, so focus has been defined by scholars as a communicative function that is used to highlight a particular unit in a sentence. So it can be realized with morphosyntactic and prosodic cues. And our focus today is only on prosodic focus. So how is prosodic focus realized? According to different scholars, the unfocused component shows expanded pitch range, lengthened duration, increased intensity, and boosted upper spectral energy, which I can't reproduce. Focus is also realized by changes in the post-focus components, showing as reduced and compressed pitch range and intensity. Scholars have called this phenomenon as post-focus compression, or PFC, which I'll be using PFC just for the case of simplification. So PFC is one of the most important acoustic cues for perceiving focus. It has been found in a number of Indo-European and Altaic languages, such as English and Japanese. It's also found in Mandarin Chinese, a tone language belonging to Sino-Tibetan family. So, but on the other hand, PFC is not found in many other languages spoken in China, such as Cantonese and Taiwanese. Most interestingly, it is also absent in Taiwan Mandarin, which is a language variety that is typologically very closely related and phonetically very similar to Beijing Mandarin. Okay, so since PFC has been shown as a feature that is easy to lose but hard to gain, so the questions of the historical origin of PFC, as well as the possible cross-linguistic transmission of PFC, have become questions of interest. And bear this interest in mind, my study was designed to look at a variety of Mandarin spoken in northern China. It's called Lan-Yin Mandarin, so it's basically used in those regions highlighted on the map. And my focus today is a subgroup of that variety. It's Jingchen subgroup of Lan-Yin Mandarin. So in that area, there are mainly three languages being spoken by people. One is Lanzhouhua, which is the local dialect. The other is Beijing Mandarin, which is the standard Mandarin spoken all over the country. And the third one is Lan-Yin accented Mandarin. So this is what I'll be talking about as well, Lan-Yin Mandarin in Jingchen subgroup. So the speech data was collected from 9 speakers remotely. They're all born-bred native speakers of Lan-Yin Mandarin, Jingchen variety, and they all lived in Lanzhou at the time of the recording. So following the suggestions of the paradigm from the previous studies on PFC, I also used the question-answer paradigm to elicit prosodic focus. 2 declarative sentences have been looked at, and they're showing on the graph here. So you can see the Mandarin literal English translation as well as the phonetic transcription of both standard Mandarin and Lan-Yin Mandarin there. 2 sets. Oh, by the way, so my speakers my participants, were presented with 2 photos showing those 2 sentences as well when they were being recorded. So 2 sets of precursor questions were used to elicit focus. The question of what do you see in the picture was used to elicit the non-focus or neutral focus condition. And the other 3 sets of questions were used to elicit other 3 focus conditions. So the analysis, the F0 extraction was extracted using an interactive prep script developed by Xu 2012. It's called Prosodic Pro under Pratt. So the script generated smoothed F0 contours for each target sentence. And it also computed min and max F0 duration and mean intensity for the voiced part of each syllable of the 2 sentences. So here are the 2 graphs showing the time-normalized F0 contours produced by the script and in 2 sentences produced by all the participants. So the different focus condition was color-coded. As you can see, black represents neutral, and red is initial, blue is medial, and green is final. The vertical bars represent standard arrows. So as you can see from the graph, except the medial kind of position in this short sentence, so all the unfocused components have shown a rise here and here, and in the longer sentence, in both three conditions, with the kind of expansion of the unfocused component and compressed and lowered on the post-focus component. So just I'll come back to this medial focus condition shortly. Just quickly play you the recordings of those two sentences with different focus, just so you can get an idea of what that sounds like. Okay, this is short sentence neutral.
老妈抹狸猫
This is word 1 on focus.
老妈抹狸猫
Medial word on focus.
老妈抹狸猫老妈抹狸猫
Word 3 on focus. Okay, so for the longer sentence, sentence 2, neutral.
老爹给老妈买花
Okay, first word.
老爹给老妈买花
Second word.
老爹给老妈买花
And lastly, final word.
老爹给老妈买花
Okay, can you hear the difference? Yeah. Okay, so in order to verify the results showing on the plots, we performed two-way repeated measures ANOVAs. So with factors of sentence and focus, as well as word location, initial, middle, and final as independent factors, min F0, max F0, and duration intensity as dependent factors. So I'm going to focus on sentence condition, sentence as a factor here. So significant effect is only present in min F0, duration and intensity for final word, and also max F0 in medial word. So for the factor of focus, it's significant across all 4 acoustic measurements except in initial word of intensity. So in order to kind of see what focus conditions actually contribute to the significant effect, we did a post-hoc test so if we focus on unfocused component, we can see that there's increase in both min F0 and max F0 for all 3 conditions. In what initial and medial, it's significant, and in final, it's less so. For duration and intensity, again, it's significant only in medial words, and intensity is significantly increased in final word. So for the post-focus components, as you can see on the table, there's a decrease of all 4 acoustic measurements, with only min F0, max F0, and intensity being statistically significant in final position. So despite the fact that unfocused condition in medial word was expanded, the post-focus compression was not as salient. So this is probably due to the kind of fact which is called post-low bouncing in Mandarin Chinese. So it is when the low tone was there, and the post-focus element would kind of raise and then go down gradually towards the end. This effect was particularly strong when the kind of low tone was on focus, and that is exactly what was happening in that short sentence there. So the second word "mo" in Lan-Yin Mandarin was realized as a low tone. So because of that, and it was on focus for the medial position, the post-focus element was bounced up, and then it went down gradually towards the end, as you can see from towards the end of the graph. But in sentence 2, there was no such a thing, so it's all clear and neat. So we did another ANOVA on the 2 sentences separately, just to look at the different effects of the sentences. Again, focus has a significant effect on the kind of longer sentence on the right side of the screen, right side. A post-hoc test showed a significant lowering of the post-focus component. And for the shorter sentence on the left, the effect of focus was significant, but post-hoc test showed a kind of a rising, not lowering, which kind of verified what we've been seeing on the graphs and for the previous ANOVAs. Okay, so conclusions and discussion. So PFC has been found in Lan-Yin Mandarin with F0 and intensity being the two major acoustic correlates of focus. So Lan-Yin Mandarin, in this sense, is very similar to Beijing Mandarin, but dissimilar to Taiwan Mandarin. So languages spoken in China have been reported extensively in other studies by different scholars. This kind of differential realization of PFC is kind of reflect the hypothetical historical origin of PFC. So why does Lan-Yin Mandarin has PFC then? It might be the case that PFC in Lan-Yin Mandarin is adopted. So as I mentioned earlier on, there are 3 languages being spoken in that little area. So standard Putonghua, which is mainly based on Beijing dialect, it's been overwhelmingly used throughout the country, especially in Lanzhou. But PFC has been shown to be a feature that is hard to gain but easy to lose. So it might be the case that PFC was there in Lanzhouhua. So Lan-Yin Mandarin, under the influence of Lanzhouhua, had that PFC at the beginning. So again, this might indicate a kind of major division within the Chinese language group with reference to other studies on this PFC as well. More research is needed, as always. Yeah, that's it. Some references. Thank you. We have about 6 minutes for questions.
Hello. I'm just wondering, do you have to specifically instruct the subject to speak in his accent, or how do you know they are actually speaking the dialect as opposed to a standard Mandarin? That's my question.
You mean their kind of linguistic background?
No, but presumably they'll be instructed in school to speak standard Mandarin, if there's a thing.
Right. Yeah. So in this recording process, I was the kind of person who instructed them to speak Mandarin, Lan-Yin Mandarin. So throughout the whole process, only Lan-Yin Mandarin was used. Yeah, so I speak that variety natively myself.
Did you have a question? This is a question for clarification. You said at the end in Cantonese speakers speaking the Cantonese do not do post-vocal compression, but when they learn Mandarin, standard Mandarin, they do that. They do it in their Mandarin version. Is that what you said? When they're speaking Mandarin, they do apply post-vocal compression. Or did I miss that? Or could you repeat what you said about it's easy to gain and or hard to gain and easy to lose?
Easy to lose. Sorry, what was the question again?
No, okay, then the question is...
Do Cantonese speakers...
Okay. Is it sort of easy to keep out? Because the fact that they don't use... when they acquire Mandarin, they apply post-vocal compression, but they continue to speak Cantonese without applying post-vocal compression. So that suggests that it's very easy to either adopt it or to not adopt it. So where does the easy to gain and the easy to lose statement... what's left of that statement? If it's so easily manipulable.
So could we pass on the mic to... Sorry.
So the evidence for that is that so far we haven't seen a single case where when F1 has post-vocal compression, when the speaker applies that rule to L2. So they can never positively transfer post-vocal compression to their second language. There's only case of lost when they speak the L2 where you should have post-vocal compression, and that applies to Cantonese as well. So there are cases of bilinguals speaking both Mandarin and Cantonese, their Mandarin bilinguals, their Cantonese will never have post-vocal compression. Their Mandarin, there is one study that shows that that's not the case of Cantonese, but Southern Min, which also doesn't have post-vocal compression. Their Southern Min never had post-vocal compression, but their Mandarin depends on whether they speak Mandarin more frequently than Southern Min. If they do, the youngest generation actually had post-vocal compression in their Mandarin, but never in their Southern Min.
Thank you.